Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast, where you get to choose, change and take action to create a different today and a different future. These are my stories of choice, change and action, along with the phenomenal guests I have on here. From a really young age, I've always desired to create a change in the world. The planet has been a constant inspiration to me, and Access Consciousness has shown me the tools to know that anything is possible. And I keep choosing. What are you going to choose? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast. So, yes, you're with me, and I have two wonderful people from the US. Where are you guys? You're in Colorado, right?
Yeah, Denver.
Denver, Colorado. Okay, so we've got Arthur Wood and Alison Coxey. So welcome.
Yay! We're in the Wild West.
Thank you. Yes,
thank you so much.
You're in the Wild West. I like it. So, okay, so welcome. 2023 has hit, and I wanted to talk to you guys about, you did a telecall recently with Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, and also Sean Von Arden, and it was about engagement, and it was about engaging with people. And I tend to do a lot of podcasts that have a business theme to it, and so I wanted to invite people to this different possibility with engaging. And I wanted to start off with, I called it like engaging to create joy. And then just this morning I went, what if it was more like this, engaging just for the fun of it, like just for the sheer fun of it? And I have a story that I wanted to talk about first off. Is we were in London, and we were in London at this event, and we'd just seen this, we were about to see this movie premiere of a friend of ours. And, you know, there's lots of different people in this place, and it's packed, and it's free drinks, right? So everyone's at the bar, and everyone's trying to get their free drinks and do all of that. And I arrive, and I'm trying to get a drink, and Alison Coxey, I like to call her. That's my Australian nickname for her, Coxey. She's just like, this barman, she's just like engaged so well with him that she's at the end of the bar, and she's like, hey! And she's just like yelling out to this guy. But the piece that I was just like, how are you doing that? Because I was standing there with Diva, a friend of ours, trying to get his attention and trying to get a drink. And it wasn't this force. It wasn't like you have to, this is a necessity. You were like, hey, can you serve my friends? And you pointed at us, etc. But this whole, can you tell me, I wasn't there when you first met up with him. And it's like, can you tell me, what was this like? Like, what goes, because I see you do that all the time, but that was firsthand, me trying to get a drink and the bar is packed, let me tell you. And there's all walks of life. Like, there's directors, actors, everyone. Yeah, and Alison's just like, hey, I got my barman. He's good, So tell me what that is for you.
Well, I was thinking about not that particular thing today, but I was thinking about this telecall and or this podcast, and I was like, oh, what does it take? I'm like, So at that particular party, I had gotten there really early. Like, we were helping do setup, and we had to borrow a room in the back to type for Dr. Dane here, and all kinds of weird stuff. So we were we introduced ourselves at the beginning before the party started, and then again when we needed drinks, and then I needed another favor for something. And so we just started growing this relationship, if you want to call it that, from then on throughout the night. So we became a familiar face. And it seemed, I don't know, I used to bartend a long time ago, and I knew that I thought bartending was the coolest thing ever. I was like, you can just make someone feel like they're the only person in the room for however long, and then they pay you money. This is the coolest thing. So it was kind of that same energy I've used ever since then. It's like, oh, really being interested in someone and acknowledging them.
It's funny that the key thing I think you said there too is that you introduced yourself, right at the beginning. It's like, how many people would go somewhere and not do that? And it's like, and that actual initial introduction. So how important do you think that initial introduction is in many different areas, like both of you, to creating that engaging with someone in a different way?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, it's everything. And the funny part is, it's like, I want to know everyone, and I want everyone to know.
You literally do. You're not just saying that. You actually do.
No, truly. And that energetic engagement is like, hey, who are you? What are you about? That kind of, willingness to just to talk to whoever, whenever, it's just really fun. You can meet so many interesting people. I've met way more interesting people than I have people I don't want to talk to anymore.
So what?
You and I
so
are
then let me ask you. Well, let me ask you, what's the interest in people? Because a lot of people, I mean, I'm a big one for saying, there's this meme of Charlie Brown and Snoopy, and they're lying in bed, and Charlie Brown looks at Snoopy and says, "I'm not going outside today. It's too peopley." And it's like, I'm like, that is me, which I think is funny because I meet thousands of people all the time, and I engage with people all the time. But a lot of the times the world is a little bit too peopley for me, and yet I'm really good at connecting when I choose it. And it's like, so what do you find so interesting about people?
And I know Alison's told me a bunch of stories too, just meeting the craziest person that you never thought you'd meet, and a wild story of their life, and how you took away something from it, how it gave you new awareness or maybe some different choices. I met this one right here.
How did you guys meet, actually?
We met at the bar.
We lived pretty close to each other. We lived like a block away from each other, so we always saw each other. And then I saw her at the bar, and no communication. I mean, no verbal. I pointed at her, and I said,
it was a heart sign.
I sent her a heart.
I was like,
and that was it.
And me being I use a lot of the access tools. I'm like, is this a runaway attraction or is this a continue attraction? Like, should I go forward with talking to this person? Because I really want to talk to him, but I also know I might be obsessed with him. So I just gave it a shot, and it turned out pretty good.
That's also my point of view, is everybody wants to talk to me. Like, if you have the point of view that, every interaction can be, or engagement can be fun and enjoyment, and you can learn something, then it's easy.
Or also, I've noticed, like, with people that don't want to talk so much, it's like, okay, well, it's almost to make my life easier. Like, I love the elevator as an example. It's like, oh my God, 11 floors with this person. I'm like, well, what if I just said hello? Like, what would that change? Let's just see. So it's like, hi, how you doing? Like, look at their shoes. Like, what are they wearing? Did you just come home from work? Or you just engage just to start moving the energy? Because I don't like to be tortured with other people's peopliness. So the more I engage with them, the less peoply they get.
The more you outcreate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I like
It's funny as you say that, because my mother always used to say to me, "Oh, you like to shock everyone." And I just realized, as you spoke about the elevator, because I will talk to people in an elevator, but I think I do it to shock people, like in that sense of, it's not about making them feel comfortable. I'll start a conversation that, you can't get out of the elevator now. You're in the elevator. And I'll start something that may be a little confronting, or something not too confronting, but I just realized that that's what I like to do. I think I amuse myself by going, okay, where's this person going to go with this? Are they actually going to like play with me, or are they going to like put their head down and be like, oh my God, quick, press the elevator and get out? Because I think that gives me a very quick synopsis.
Just totally shut down. Like,
yeah, and it's like this quick synopsis of like, okay, is this actually going to be an interaction that works? Like, am I going to enjoy this? And like you said, the interaction that, is easy and fun. So what about when you interact with people and you're like, oh, this is not going to be fun? What do you do to make it fun?
I just turn on the happiness torture, AKA me being happy and like doing kind of like what you just said. It's like, okay, so in the last 3 flights I've been on, for some reason, the stewardesses and steward have been like, I'd ask for ice and they would roll their eyes. I'm like, man, what am I changing? But these people do not like me. 3 different flights. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to keep asking what I would like, because they were definitely like so annoyed that I was even asking for more ice or ice at all or something. I was like, huh. So I just kept asking them, and the eye rolls got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was just hilarious. So it didn't turn out like happily for them, but at least I received what I was asking for, and I was thoroughly entertained with them. I was like, okay, being annoyed.
Thank you. That's a really cool energy. And I'd love you if you could dive a little bit deeper into that, because I think most people would go to I won't order ice, or every time they did, like I know that they do this thing of just going vroom and going in rather than, you know, I've known you long enough too, Alison, that you do literally have that, like you said, the what did you say, the torture joy, the joy torture,
happiness torture,
happiness torture, yeah, because you do, and it's like so what is it? What tools would you use with that, like to be more of that, and not like a fuck you, more like a
right?
Hey.
Is it a pull or a push?
Oh, it depends on the person, I think, but it's more like, okay, if you would look at where you contracted, like you said, because I used to contract all the time. I couldn't even go, like as a kid, I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself. I was just like aware of everyone's stuff. And that continued basically on until Access Consciousness, where I learned the tools of, oh, if it's heavy, it's not mine. If I can actually relax and expand out and then get to explore what is me in the moment as best as I can. So in those moments, when I can, I look at, okay, am I contracting? Do I have barriers up? So barriers down, I would say, is the best tool for engaging with anyone, whether you're opening your mouth or just energetically. Like Arthur said earlier, some engagement, almost all engagement, I would say, is energetic first. It's nonverbal. So when your barriers are down, people can't react to you in the same way, or in the way they expect to react to people. So I'd say that's how I would begin.
But can you expand a little bit more on that for someone who's never heard about barriers down? It's like, how do you do that? Can you explain that a little bit more?
How do I do that? Basically, relax. Oh, I do it. I just pretend all of a sudden that no one else exists for just a minute.
And then you're everything?
Yeah, like everyone disappears.
I can't hear you that well, Arthur. I think you need to speak a little bit like closer to the mic.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I was just backing her up.
Yeah, I know, but I can hear you like, what do you call it? You're like, not the stalker. You're the heckler in the crowd.
Yes,
and
I'm a creeper.
I hear the heckle, but I can't really hear the heckle. So, yeah. So tell me more. What did you say?
Stalker. I'm such a stalker. That's perfect. Exactly. I followed her home. It was creepy.
It was great.
But here we are now today, and I think it's awesome.
Yes.
Yep. But he was a gentleman the first night. He just walked up and walked away. I was like, what the hell? But anyway, so we engage. Barriers down. So basically,
I love the way you said that, because anyone who's psychic enough, you just sent the pictures of like first night versus second night. Like it was just like, okay. And ladies and gentlemen, you can tap into that energy. So, and also if you are listening to us on the podcast, but you want to check us out, we're on YouTube as well. So, and just so that you know, the way that, that Arthur met Alison was, he did like the heart symbol across the bar that we all know. So that's what we keep referring to, because if you're listening, you can't see it. But if you're watching, you can now. And that's what won her heart. Okay, so now we're diminishing the barriers. We're like, okay, so you pretend nobody's there.
Yep. I just lower my barriers and I'm like, okay, how would I usually react to this? Like old me. Okay. I'd be like, put my head down, walk away, or whatever it is. And then how would new me do it? Like me that just doesn't really care about anybody else in that moment. Like everyone disappears. Where's my space? And then open my eyes back up and then start to play with the energy of the other person. Is it to, what am I asking for with this person anyway? What's my target? Is it just to have fun? Is it like what did you like to do with people, Simone?
Well, my mother said I like to shock them, but that's very I just realized that's very typical. My mother would say that and put it as something that was derogatory rather than, oh, wow, Simone, you like to engage people. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mother's not the kindest person in the world. Yeah.
No, I'm kind of glad I haven't met her yet. But it's like an algorithmic interrupt, I'd say, what you do in those kind of terms. Like a shock. Who is the person? I guess it just depends. And then you just get to play with the energy that's there once you've relaxed, once you've basically relaxed and let that tight nervousness go. We lost an Arthur.
And so one of the things that you've mentioned too, and I'd like to talk about is, you're like, what are you asking for here? Like, I mean, in this sense on the plane, you literally wanted more ice but you wanted to ask for more ice and have ease with it and not ask for ice because you wanted it. Now, it sounds like such a small thing. It's ice.
Right.
But how many times do we shut ourselves down based on you're aware of what the other person has, going on in their world, or that they don't desire to work today or deliver you more ice. So then you go, oh, I just won't ask for more ice. So I want to ask you, listening now, everybody, it's like, what are you not asking for based on you are so psychic and you pick up on everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions and decide that, you're not giving yourself permission. You're not allowed to ask for anything more. I'm giving you permission. You're allowed to ask for more. You're allowed to ask for anything that you desire. So everything that is, we destroy and uncreate it. Times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. It's like, what are you avoiding by not engaging? So, I would also like to ask you, and I don't know if we did lose an Arthur or he's coming back, but it's like, what's the
coming back?
Like, when you said like what you're asking for, but I also get you're not vested in the outcome at all. Like you're not looking for a certain outcome.
Exactly.
Can you talk a little bit more about that and not being
that's
vested
taken
in
a
the
lot
outcome?
That's taken a lot of practice with people out in the peopley world. Not so much, but then because for me, it's just been kind of play. And then all of my points of view about business or my job or things like that. Or if I need to ask for like, I don't know, like a tax extension or I don't know, those kind of things. It's like, I'm going to die if I don't get this. What if you also just did not have a vested outcome with that either? And then before any engagement, I always ask, how can this turn out even greater and better than I ever could have imagined?
Wow.
And that one question really helps with literally everything. You have a dog.
I love that question.
Yeah. And then I loved what Gary said about Arthur. We have a dog that just took Arthur's spot. Sorry.
Come on.
Gary said that Arthur isn't afraid to ask for literally like anything. He has no point of view.
Can you talk more about that then? Like, because we're just talking about not being vested in the outcome of when you engage with somebody. Like,
well, and that's really the beauty of what I do or how I do it, is because it's like access. If you think about this, like if you answer your own question, that's the smallest common denominator of what could really happen. The universe will show you crazy stuff that you never saw coming. That's the way I look at every person, every engagement. Wow, what? And I've always looked at that's so funny. I've never got that until right now. I've always looked at it that way. You never know what's going to show up. I've gotten jobs, I've gotten money, I've gotten
everything.
Other things.
He's so interested. You're like literally so interested in everything.
I really am.
But you are.
My first boss, I actually said.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What I was going to say when I first met
said,
you. I think, wait, you go, Arthur. You go.
Okay, you go.
No, you go. No, you go.
My first boss told. Okay, I'm going. My first boss told me good things happen when you talk to people, and everybody that came in the store, I worked at a sporting goods store. Everybody that came in, I would say, "How's it going?" And that just started. Now this, like having calls with Gary Douglas and Simone, it's crazy.
Well, I was going to say when I first met you, I knew you were Alison's, boyfriend. Or she was seeing you, blah blah blah, whatever we want to call it nowadays. And I think, so I knew of you, but that's it. But it's like I remember when I met you and the way you hugged me, and for me, a hug is such a cool engagement as well. I really like hugging, and you can so tell the difference when someone hugs well and someone, goes in for a hug and they're pulling away at the same time as they're going in for a hug, and someone that just goes, hi, and to me, I love that. That's such a cool engagement. And you were that. And immediately, if I look at this, when you hugged me like that, there's you create the barriers in me, if I had any, like to go down. So it goes down like this. And then it's sort of without verbiage, there's a whole lot of possibilities that show up of like, okay, so what is possible with the engagement, with the interaction, with the awareness of everything, my involvement with Access Consciousness, of knowing Alison, of everything. And then here you are now, like you said, you're doing this podcast, but you did a class with Gary, and it's like, and you've been doing some work with us. But from that initial engagement, Like it's not words. It's not tangible. It's not cognitive, but it just goes.
Right.
It's almost like the universe goes, all right, here you go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Totally.
And who knows what it's going to turn out to be.
Yeah. Well, that though. So can you guys talk about, like I said, not being vested in the outcome, but also not going to the conclusion of engaging with others, whether it's, business, friends, a love heart across the bar, like, not having that conclusion of what you think it should show up like and how, I guess, limiting that is.
Yeah. Well, even with, I remember, so back when I had finished massage school and I was still a bartender, it just reminds me of this little story. I remember getting my first couple massage people and I was like, holy shit, people are paying me money for this, wow. And then, what? I just remember saying to myself, like, I can't wait until this is, my job. Like, this is what I'm doing all day, every day. And I remember engaging with the universe in that way. And I didn't know I was like asking the universe. Wasn't in access yet. I was just like, Dad, wouldn't that just be so cool? And I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't really know how or when or what. And so finally it started to happen. And just over COVID, I started renting a different space, a suite I just kept asking what else is possible. I found access. I started renting a different space, and instead of one little room, now it's like 5 rooms. Yeah. And there's employees, and the business is like running itself, and it doesn't need me anymore. And I was like, whoa, I never could have imagined that being possible before, just by engaging with the business, engaging with people, engaging with the universe, engaging with what I would actually like that I don't even know that I would like. It's like, what would I like that I don't even know that I would like right now? Universe, surprise me. I think I asked the universe to surprise me like every day. I still do. I kind of forgot, but universe, surprise me. And so that has been really shifting with like, if I had an outcome, it probably would have, or if I was vested in the outcome, it probably would have just stayed at me having enough clients or something like that. That would have been my...
That's what you thought it was. It would stay there.
Yeah. However, I was like, okay, that's cool. Now what else is possible?
You're love
like
that.
number one in the region for lymphatic drainage for some different specific massages. It's amazing.
Now, this was just a side thing. I was like, oh, I need to make money. So this nutrition school had asked if someone would do lymphatic drainage. And I was like, yeah, me. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. So I hurried and taught myself over YouTube and went there and gave people lymphatic drainage massages, and they loved it. And then that was like 11 years ago. And now we're the number one lymphatic drainage massage place because I taught everyone how to do it too in Denver.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love the energy that you're being with that, because when you ask for something more and it shows up, but any way that you're concluding it, you've stopped it.
Yeah.
You've literally stopped it. I love that. So it's like, universe, show us something else. Universe, show me something magical. Universe, show me more of me today. Like, I've been over the Christmas period. I have no idea what this looks like, but what I'm asking for is to find out what it's like to have more space for me. And I know most people would go to, that means you have to have days off or you have to do this or whatever. And I know that that's not it. It's like, what would it, because I spent Christmas Day on my own, which was fucking amazing. And the day was too quick, but because everyone else was so busy on Christmas Day, it was like cricket. So it was really just me. And I was like, okay, what am I choosing with my day? Like every 10 seconds. Yeah. And it was just this space that I really acknowledge that I require. And I don't want to be in 20 years time, just going, oh, I traveled all over the world having this epic friggin' job, more awareness, more consciousness on the planet, which so matches everything that I'm asking for. And what else, what else?
Yeah, exactly.
There's more. How do I, what can I be with that? Yeah, that's more. That's not just that, not just filling my schedule up. What else?
Yeah.
What else? So I love
Totally.
that. Thank you so much for inspiring me to really ask beyond what I'm currently asking for and just let's rocket ship this, baby.
Hell yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
There's so many people that conclude that, I'm a CPA, I'm a lawyer, but who am I today and what grand and glorious adventures will I have? Like, I've been so surprised. My life has totally changed. And, of course, love the tools, but it's, it's about willingness too. It's about, making a choice to
Receiving.
and engaging with the universe. I mean, engaging with that energy.
Yeah, I say, so engaging beyond people into engaging with the universe. I like that because I engage with my plants every day and the ocean across the road and all of that. It's like, yay!
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. I was just thinking about also, when Elugar got flooded and they needed, Gary's like, hey, let's contribute. What can we do to contribute? So, or you did, we pulled a bunch of money and gave them money. And Gary said, like, just from the gratitude that those people have for the people that are helping them, like the money's going to come back tenfold, or your life is going to change based on the gratitude that all of those people have for the people helping them. So what if every day you could at least find someone who could receive either your gratitude or a hello, or whose like door is even a little tiny bit open for you to crack in there and make laugh or say hello or just be calm around. Maybe they're not even used to calm people or like people with their barriers down. That even just being around that, they're just like, oh, this feels good. And simultaneously gifting and receiving from engaging in that way.
Oh, I love that.
I can think of a lot of people
much.
too that would they still be here?
Yeah.
Would they still be around if they didn't find some kind of engagement? All of life comes through these, joy and glory. Okay, I'll give it a shot. What? It's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's the mantra of Access Consciousness, ladies and gentlemen. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. And it's true. It's like the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like, ask for it. It's like, what are you not asking for that you could be asking for? But I love that both of you have like taken this out of the engagement of just with words. Like, hi, my name's John. It's like not just that. And it's like, and you're very capable of that and capable of changing people's lives and changing the energy, etc. But for me, it's like you reminded me what I know and taking me outside of that to the engagement with possibilities, like that engagement with happy, the engagement with ease, the engagement, with greater than what we can imagine. Because we go, oh, I can imagine this would be great. And it's like, there's so much more that's available.
Oh,
yeah.
So much
that. So you've you've mentioned a few tools so far, but is there any other tool that you would like to, give the listeners to walk away with and actually take some action and start using it?
Whose is it anyway? And interesting point of view.
Whose is it anyway?
Because it's like that.
Is that a game
TV show? Whose line was it?
Yeah, that's Arthur's one.
When I started using interesting point of view on everything, which I just did, I just started doing that at our last COP. When I started using it on everything, it was amazing how there was nothing in the way. There was nothing stopping me. There was nothing, no burdensome judgment, none of that stuff. It was, everything opened up. It was amazing. But before that, I wasn't using it enough. It's a great tool.
And so the tool is interesting point of view, right? And it's like every point of view, like every single point of view that comes up, ask the question. It's like, or interesting point of view. That's an interesting point of view. So it sort of starts to, as Alison was saying before, like melt the energy. And one of the things, I did this with money first off, because one of the things I realized was I had no idea what my point of view around money was. Like you go, oh, that's expensive, or that's cheap, or that's, and I was like, whose point of view is that? So I would practice that. That's how I started to change my financial reality was like, I'd go, okay, interesting point of view. I have this point of view. And then I would poke and pod the point of view and ask, what is my financial reality? If I was choosing my point of view with this, what would it be? And you look at an expensive car that, that you've gone, oh my God, that's so expensive. And all of a sudden it's like, that'd be damn fun to drive. That'd be fast, and there's a different energy that shows up and you start to discover what's yours. And the other tool that you mentioned, except you sort of made it yours, which is great, is the who does this belong to? And I re-listened to a tool that, a video that Dane did actually just over Christmas. And he was talking about sitting at Christmas lunch one year with his ex-fiance. And the whole time he just sat there, he hardly spoke. And he just said in his head, who does this belong to? Who does this belong to? Who does this belong to? And it's such a cool tool to use. I went to a party the other day and, I'm just being me and whatever. And there was a moment where I went, I think I feel awkward. And, in my head, and then I went, I'm not awkward. Who does this belong to? And I was like, oh, so many people here are awkward. And people also get awkward when you are comfortable. When you're okay with the silence, or when you're okay with the space, that creates like big time awkward in other people's worlds. And when then you start going awkward energy and you go, am I awkward? And you're like, no, again, that tool that Alison mentioned, just like melt those barriers and melt all of, because there's just limitations that not even yours. So I love this. So Alison, have you got anything you want to add to those tools?
So maybe either, well, I'm like two also, but maybe just go out and say hello to someone you wouldn't usually say hello to, like the opposite of who. Lower your barriers, interesting point of view, any of the points of view come up, and just say hello to someone, how's your day, and just see what happens, just for fun. And then another really weird, energetic, like, engagement thing is you could pick, like, a chair or a vase or something in your house to engage with every day for, like, 3 days in a row. And just say hello and notice how you see it the first day, how you see it the second day, and what shows up maybe the third day. Notice if you like have more gratitude for it, if it has shown you more about it, or if maybe you don't even like it anymore and it's time for it to go, or just notice what you notice and see what that thing in your house has to show you once you start engaging with it even more.
Oh, I love
really
that.
fun.
Yeah, that's a really cool tool. I'm going to use that for sure. That's brilliant. Love it, love it, love it. I mean, I engage with my plants all the time. The big joke is all my plants, I've got so many indoor plants, but they're all called that guy because I don't know what that, everyone goes, oh, that's a blah, blah, blah. And I go, I don't know, it's that guy. And I think that guy needs water. That guy, where do you want to be? Do you want to be in the bathroom now? Where about that guy? And everyone's like, oh, your plants, that guy. Yeah, they are. They're that guy. So that's the way I roll.
Great.
So, hey, I want to thank you guys so much for coming on here. Is there anything else you want to say to the listeners?
Just so much gratitude for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us on the show. You're amazing. Everybody, you're amazing. Thank you.
Yes.
When can we
You
be
are
on again?
amazing. Yeah, you are amazing. We're all amazing. And it's like, what if we even started with that? Like the engagement that you have with, oh yeah, you're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So we will have in the show notes anywhere that you can contact Arthur and Alison as well, their, Instagram handles and all that sort of stuff. And like I said, if you've been listening to us, you can jump on over to YouTube and you can see our smiling faces there if you choose. And subscribe, do all of that. Follow us on Instagram. We've got the Choice, Change and Action Instagram now, not just my Instagram. So it's totally devoted just to the podcast. And I look forward to speaking to you guys throughout the year. I've got some really cool podcasts lined up. If you missed last week, listen to it. It's with Nicolette, who is so inspiring. She's a bars facilitator, and oh my goodness, her stories are just amazing. I also have a Business Done Different class coming up. I think once this launches, maybe it's in a day or so. And Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, 10-week program starting on the 1st of Feb, which I'm really excited about that because, as I mentioned, I've been using these tools for a while, and in regards to money, I completely changed my financial reality. I was in debt, I had no money, all of that sort of stuff, and I changed it literally by using the Access Consciousness tools. So if you want, come play. If not, that's okay too. It's like, enjoy your day. You're amazing wherever you are in the world. So thank you so much, Arthur and Alison, for being here, and I'll see you guys somewhere in the world soon. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button on your favorite listening platform to get notified of new episodes. We read all the reviews, so if there's any topic you would like to hear about, let us know. If you'd like to know more about the tools, information, and classes mentioned in the podcast, head on over to SimoneMilasas.com and follow me on Instagram at Simone Milasas, or the podcast has its very own link on Instagram at Choice, Change and Action. Don't forget, you can download the show notes, and lastly, have way too much fun today.